Today we're going to be going over the front headlock. This is the #1 way to score in the sport of wrestling. The 3 things we're going to focus on is grips, go behinds, and pins. How do we control the head and the arm? How are we going to actually spin behind the person to get the points? How are we going to get some finishing pin moves? The first thing we're going to go over is grips, the proper way to control the head and the arm. There are 3 main ways to control a front headlock. All right, the first one we're going to go over is grabbing the chin and the tricep. Okay, whenever we're locking, what's very important is I'm keeping my elbow, we call it T-Rex arms, to my side. I'm going to grab the chin here, I'm going to take my elbow, I'm going to pinch it close to my side, I'm going to take my other hand and I'm going to control his tricep. A big thing with this positioning is making sure the head stays underneath your stomach. If the head comes up in this space here, he can attack a double leg and counter your front headlock. So I'm going to grab the chin, I'm going to put my shoulder in the middle of his back, I'm going to put his head underneath my stomach by pinching my elbow to the side, and I'm going to take my opposite hand and control his tricep. All right, right in this position here. I don't want to be so far up that he can grab my leg. I just want to be right in the middle of his back, right above his neck, controlling the chin, the tricep, right in this position. The next grip we're going to do is locking our hands. When we lock our hands, we have to be careful to lock close to the neck side. When I lock my hand, I never want to take my hand that's going around the neck and reach it deep this way. I don't want to do this because my opponent can arm drag and pull me and take my back, okay? So when I lock my hands, the hand that's going around the armpit is going to go super deep, and I'm going to make my lock, I'm going to rotate this way, my lock is going to be made right at the neck, so right up here, okay? It's okay to be in the middle even, but I really don't want to get this arm too deep in that position. Another tip when we lock our hands, I normally lock my hands if they start standing to their feet. It's a great way to control your opponent. So if I start off with the first grip, chin and tricep, and maybe he starts coming up to a tripod, I'll lock my hands to control and bring them back to the mat. The third grip is going to be double armpits. This, I would say, has the least amount of control because you're not grabbing their head, but you can move quicker from this position and you can more easily attack both sides. So all you're going to do, praying mantis, elbows to your side, all fingers cupped over this way, you're going to grab right in his armpit. Your chest is going to go right in that same position, above the neck, in the middle of the back here, okay? And I'm on my toes here. That's another difference too, I'm on both feet in this position. In the other grips, my hand that's grabbing the chin or around the neck, that same knee is normally down. So this is this position, but if I go to double armpits, I normally come up to both feet. And the valuable thing from this position is I can circle this way and this way very easily. Now we're going to discuss go behinds. How do I spin behind my opponent? One thing that's super important when I'm spinning behind my opponent is I like to get their elbows to hit the mat. When they're on their hands here, they're more mobile and it's harder to get behind my opponent. So before I spin behind, I snap them to their elbows. We can start with any grip, it doesn't make it any difference. I'm gonna use the chin and tricep because that's the grip I prefer. And before I spin behind, I'm gonna get him to his elbows. So I'm here, I'm gonna pull him down to the mat and get him to his elbows. Once he's on his elbows, I can spin behind. Here's how you do the drag. I'm gonna take my chin and tricep grip here. I still like doing that same action of pushing and pulling to try and get him to his elbows. So I'll push, pull, then here's the difference, okay? When I go to spin around, my hand that was on the chin is gonna come wrap around his neck, just like this, this little rotation, and grab in his armpit. And then I'm gonna pull on his tricep here as I attack his hamstring and spin around. So I'm here, I now have this grip, I'm coming here, pulling myself behind. Okay, so everything else is pretty much identical, but we're taking this hand, rotating it around the head, and grabbing the armpit tricep area. So I'm here, I'll push, I'll pull, and I'll keep my weight on. In the last one I didn't show keep my weight. I'll keep my weight here as I rotate my hand, grab the tricep, pull myself around. Now the next one I'm gonna show you is called a V block. It's another way to control his shoulder so he can't reach up and grab my leg. Same beginning portion. I push, I pull. Now this hand, instead of coming into the tricep area, is gonna rotate around and just block on his shoulder here. Okay, so it's almost on the outside instead of coming to the inside. I still keep my weight on this side here, and I grab his hamstring and circle behind. Chin, tricep, push, pull. The hand rotates to this position here. Call it the V block position because my arm's creating a V. And then I'm grabbing the hamstring, hustling behind. Those are the 3 main ways to do a go behind. Now I'm gonna show you some more variations. These are gonna be a little more technical. The next one is gonna be a knee tap. I have the chin and the tricep. I'm gonna hit this move when his knee is a little bit closer here. So if his knee is close enough, all right, I'm gonna reach the hand that has the chin across, and I'm gonna go neck deep pretty much. Really, really deep here. Because this is the only way I'm gonna be able to reach this hand to this here. So I'm here, I'm reaching across, hands tapping the knee. Look at how my palm goes down too. And then I drive him over to that hip. Once he falls to his hip, I can either raise the arm up and get a pin here, or I can spin the opposite way to get behind. Both have pros and cons. The pro to, so if I reach deep, knee tap him, the pro to coming this way is I can get a pin, circling this way and hooking here. But if I'm circling into his legs, he can use his hands to kind of defend himself from getting spun around. So yes, you can get the pin, but if I spin the backside on him, he has nothing here to protect himself from me spinning behind him. The next technique to get our go behind is called a head in the hole. All right, you can do this by either locking your hands or grabbing the chin and tricep. I'm gonna grab the chin, I'm gonna grab the tricep here, and I'm gonna put my head in his armpit as I sit to my right hip. So I'm here in our traditional position. I'm gonna come to the side. I'm gonna sit kind of towards my hip here, and my head is gonna duck underneath. And I'm almost gonna take my face and look at him. So I'm here with the chin, the tricep, and I'm looking into him here. I'm putting a lot of pressure towards his head, so it's very hard for him to circle and face me. We can also add a snap first to make this a little bit better. So I can do the push, pull, and then when I come here, my head's ducking behind the armpit. I'm sitting to my hip here, circling behind, and I can either attack the hip here, or I can attack the hamstring. You'll see a lot of people attack the hip, so they can't circle out. So I'll come here. Once I get here, pop my head out, and get my 2. Show you guys that one. One more time. Chin, tricep. Again, I prefer snapping most of the time, so I'll push, pull. The head's ducking underneath the armpit, and then look at this right hand. It's gonna, my elbow's gonna pinch to the floor to kind of tuck his head down. Now I'm gonna circle, 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 attack this hip over here, pop my head out, and get the takedown. Now we're gonna go into re-attacks. There's a lot of ways to attack my opponent's legs. I'm normally gonna do this when my opponent tries to tripod up, when they try to stand to their feet. I'll show you kind of a variety. So when I'm here and my opponent's in a tripod position, we can do many things. We can go high crotch. So how I do my high crotch is like this. I grab the hamstring, I step and my knee slides to the side. There's a light little knee slide there. And I get myself in a very deep position here with that high crotch. Then my backhand punches and I can run the high crotch down and get my takedown. The next one is a double leg. Very similar, just instead of tacking your right hand to the one leg, you're gonna tack 2 legs. So here, still knee slide, but this right hand, instead of coming here first, is just gonna come straight across the second leg, and I'm gonna drive him over to the head. Another one we can do, ankle pick. Ankle pick works when they're tripoding up and their hands are close to their feet. From here, I'm normally gonna be in this position with my left leg up, but I'm gonna drop to my left knee. My left hand is gonna cup right behind the heel, and I'm gonna push his upper body off of me, control the ankle, and collect the 2 points there. A lot of these counterattacks can happen as my opponent is continuing to stand up, but everything else is the same. It's just gonna be finishing on your feet, and I'll show you one example with that. So if I was here and he tripods up, but even comes all the way up to his feet here, we can do all those attacks from here. And I'll show you a single leg, because I haven't shown you that one yet. So single leg, I drop my right hand over this one, here. Pull myself in, pull it to my feet, and I can finish my single leg there. Now we're gonna go into pinning our opponent. First thing we're gonna do is a cradle. I'm in this position here, chin and tricep. I see him step up with one of his legs. I'm gonna attack the leg that he's stepping up. So chin, tricep, I'm gonna circle and punch my elbow directly behind his knee joint. So I'm here, I'm gonna circle, almost like I'm hitting a sweep single. That's how I like to think of it, sweeping a single leg. Here. Once I'm here, I lock my hands together. I'm gonna drive him to this hip and then finish in a front bridge. Hands locked, drive him to this hip, then I'm gonna finish in a front bridge here. The next move is a gator roll and DJ. I'm just gonna show you how they kind of work together here. So chin, this time instead of going tricep, I'm going underneath here. All right, I call it a DJ. A lot of different people have different names, but here's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna jack this arm up onto my neck. Okay, I want it up high. And now instead of driving, what most people do is they try and drive that person sideways. He has posts over here. So he not only does he have his arm, a lot of times he'll step this leg up, and I can't drive him against those two strong posts. So instead, I'm gonna continue to circle my pocket to his pocket and drive him over his head where he doesn't have a post. So chin, arm, I circle more, and I'm driving straight over top here. One thing to be careful of, mainly it happens in the youth, is because I'm circling so much, you've got to be aware of a headlock. So you'll see this happen a lot with you, so they'll kind of go like this, and they'll get headlocked to the back. And you know, that's mainly just a technical thing because they're leaning backwards like this. I'm in that position, I'm not leaning backwards, I'm turning and driving straight over the head. Now, if my opponent is winging down, so I'm here, but he's winging down, this is where we can hit our gator roll. My hand that was on the chin is gonna reach and grab his wrist. I'm gonna pull it in tight, I'm gonna duck my head, and I'm gonna roll him across my back here. Once he ends up in this position, I'm gonna let go of this arm, re-grab the chin, and punch my left hand in deep, okay? And come up on top and get the pin there. The next move I'm gonna show you is a quarter Nelson. Quarter Nelsons are very basic technique. You'll learn a lot when you're younger, but it's a great technique. I know from experience, I got turned in college when I was at the peak of my career with this technique. And most of the times you're gonna hit this when your opponent has your leg, all right? And the mistake I made was just trying to hold on to the leg instead of bailing out. But here's how we're gonna do our quarter Nelson. Our whizzer hand or overhook hand is gonna reach a little deeper. Our other hand that's pushing on the head is gonna go to the neck, and my right hand's gonna grab my own wrist. So that's the lock. Hand here, reach underneath, hand here. And we can run it one of two ways. I think the best way to run it is circling hip to hip. So I'm gonna circle this way and drive him more over this shoulder here. So driving him straight over that way. Then once they fall to their hip, I actually like switching directions here. So I like rotating this way and scooping underneath the chin and getting the pin there. But with this quarter Nelson, you pretty much can spin either way. So when you're here, right, I can circle hip to hip and push him over this way. I can also circle towards his head and kind of stuff him underneath that way. That's the beauty of the move. And it really, you know, I'll say this much, no one shows you how to defend a quarter Nelson. Like, tell me how to defend a quarter Nelson. So like, people don't expect it. I mean, now I know how to defend it, and I'll show you that real quick. If somebody has a quarter Nelson on me, like an underhooking on my wrist, you let go of the leg and you get the thing off you. All right, but nobody chose you that, so you're just thinking you finish the single, and then you get caught in your back. All right, so that's everything I got for you guys today. We've got the proper grips, the proper way to spin behind somebody, and the proper way to pin somebody. Use these techniques to win your next match.